drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light.
We appear to be live now.
Driving safely helps the traffic.
We appear to be live now. Okay, for anyone who's been painfully waiting for me to actually allow that to. Okay, Q, just to let you know, go back to the main menu in the main studio for Go Live as opposed to a scheduled event, because the scheduled event is giving me errors. I don't know if it's actually getting out in live. Don't know if anybody's able to see us in the big box. Actually, let's see what's happening. Yeah, notifications are going out. Give it a couple minutes or a couple of seconds or something. Hey, LinkedIn user. Okay, people are seeing us. Yay! We're going to restart this whole thing. We're going to pretend that nothing went wrong at all. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and what you've tuned into is Ask a Traffic Cop. Yes, this is the magical show on the internet where we answer your traffic and police questions for a full hour, generally 5 days a week. This week it's going to be 4 days a week because I will not be here tomorrow. However, I am scheduling a short video that's coming out, a podcast episode of Traffic Jam with our friends from the Hold Up Squad. We're going to be talking about, or we did talk about yesterday, and you will see tomorrow, all about the whole, what's it called? What is it called? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. It is called, oh my goodness. What is it called? I'll come back to it. It's called something, and you're going to find out tomorrow. See, it's all intentional lead up. No, I actually can't remember what I'm talking about. Okay, let's play the song again for those who are just tuning. Actually, no, we'll leave it to the end. We'll stay to the very end so you can listen to the traffic song. You can watch it anytime, of course. Q, you're back in the room. Awesome. And yes, Andrew, LinkedIn user. I know it's always Andrew. You've got your security settings, that all the way up. Okay. So let's get into things. We're going to start by our Vision Zero enforcement team intro, and that's talking about the fact that Vision Zero enforcement team do great work in our city. They are issuing a ton of tickets. It's not because people are good drivers and following the rules when they get tickets. It's because they are very clearly breaking the rules and putting other people, vulnerable road users, other drivers, at risk of serious injury and death. That's what they're doing. I don't think there's enough acknowledgement of the fact that when you choose to speed, choose to drive aggressively, to drive distracted, it's more than you just it's more than you just breaking a rule. You're putting lives at risk, and people go, yeah, whatever. Well, that's because you haven't had your turn yet, your turn of being involved in a serious collision. So, I for your sake, I hope you never find out. But I'd much rather if you just choose to do the right thing, choose not to break the law, choose not to put others at risk. Okay. Where are these fine officers today? They are in 14 Division and 55 Division. They're policing in the areas of Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, the Beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York. It's those neighborhoods that they're spending time in today. And they're augmenting the already good work done by officers who work in those divisions every day. They're just helping out, just doing a little bit of extra. See, some big brain people, analysts have gone through the numbers. They figure out where the officers should be to do the best work in one time at one place where they need it most, and that's where they go for that day. Statistically, it's that intelligent-led policing. We like it. We like it a lot. Big Jeff Fresh coming in from YouTube. Good morning. Password is username. It comes in morning officer is the message. And I don't know if you're new, because I have one friend who keeps coming in and changing their username every day or regularly. We'll say regularly. Sean Chen with that Ola, and Sean Chen wants to know if Vision Zero operates at night. Vision Zero focuses on peak times. There's always officers on the road doing enforcement, but the team focuses on peak times. So they do have a morning and an afternoon, but I don't think they go all the way 24 hours. That's not to say you won't get a ticket if they're sleeping. It just means that you'll be an officer from a different unit, a different specialty squad. Okay. Twitch is working. Cool. And we have a question about, this is from Andrew. Can you drive through a gas station to go out the other side without filling up or using the station? So this is where you're talking about private property and what's permitted and what they permit. And they may have signs saying you can't cross through, at which point you'd be trespassing if you weren't there for the purpose of utilizing their services. You could be pulling in, deciding you don't want gas after all after seeing the prices. You could change your mind. So it's harder to police, but it's also not courteous. So you're doing a risky maneuver. If you end up in a collision while you're doing that, you're going to be responsible. If you are asked, or they have posted signs, you could get charged. You could be ticketed because at that point you are going to be engaged in a prohibited act if you're because there's a sign saying you can't cross through, and you cross through, now you're eligible for a ticket. So there's a thing. 5 toes 2 feet says holy radio voice Batman. Well, thank you very much. Although, it's funny. Is this like the radio? Do you listen to a radio? Do you know that thing with the dial and the megahertz, and you actually tune in and you get the radio waves? How many people still have radios? I do. I listen to the radio all the time while I'm driving. I think it's the fastest and best way to get real-time news and traffic updates. I listen to it all the time. I guest appear on radio stations talking about traffic and police stuff. So I like radio. I think it's cool. I was just on the radio on the weekend. And, it's very different than any other medium. Now, we have a podcast. We do this broadcast here, similar to the radio and different. Same, but different. So I'd love to know your feedback about radio. Do you like it? Do you like it a lot? And do you pay for radio? How about satellite radio? That's a thing. I used to have satellite radio when I bought a new car. It came with satellite radio, but I never renewed it. They called me all the time. Renew, come back. Okay. Greetings and salutations. 6 more days till I win a Harley. That means it's not too late for everyone else to win a Harley. That was coming in from Kayla Draconis. It means that there is a very, very good chance that, it's a guarantee that someone is going to win. Is it going to be you? Only time will tell. Of course, if you didn't buy a ticket, you have no chance. You have no dog in the race. You would need to go to harleyraffle.ca to buy your tickets. There's only 7,000 available, 1 for $23, 3 for $50. And if you buy a ticket, you might take Kayla's bike. Might make it yours instead of his. It's a brand new Harley Davidson, and all the money raised from that goes to Special Olympics Ontario, which is a very worthy cause. I hope I can get the video done today. I have a dream, and that is to finish editing the video promoting the Harley raffle to put it on social media to give it that last boost, because it needs a little boost, just a little bit. Yeah, it's cool. Also, if you want to get your questions answered, you can ask them on any of the platforms you're on, except Twitter. Twitter's kind of broken. It's been broken for a while since they dumped Periscope, unless they went back to Periscope, but I don't think it's working. In any case, if you are on Twitter, or if you're on a platform and having difficulty getting your questions heard, you can always join us at trafficcop.ca. That's trafficcop.ca. And if you go there, you can download the app called Vol. You can even use it through your web browser. You don't have to download it. You can jump into our community group. In the community group, you can ask us questions in the Q&A, and guess what I'm looking at? When I am here, I am looking at Volley. I have it up on screen. I have it on my phone, and I see when you leave a message for me. You can leave video messages. You can leave voice messages. You can leave text messages. You can send memes by way of attachment. You can do all sorts of things. And then we can play them back here. And as a sample here,
so if your car was older and came from the factory,
you can actually leave me a voice message. We'll play it on the air. You'll be heard by gazillions of people. Hey, if you're new to the channel, if you don't already follow us, my name is Sean Shapiro. It says so on the screen for most people. And you can get me here Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 answering traffic and police questions. So join us, follow us. If you don't already follow us, whatever platform you're using, follow us, and please share the word. Please forward us and like the videos and do all that stuff, because the algorithm gets a message when you do that, and it shares it to other people who think that it thinks you think it's predicting that if you like it, other people will like it too. So it helps us out, not because we make money at this. It's because we want to share good messaging and get good information to good people. That's the thing. That's the thing. You can be a hero just sharing this channel, or these channels, because we're on a whole bunch of them right now. If I didn't mention it earlier, I'll mention it now. We are currently broadcasting on what is this thing called? Instagram, TikTok. We got YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn Live. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. And again, Twitter doesn't work for questions, but you can get us on the other platforms. Jump over. We're available everywhere. Let me get into some more questions. Got a ticket in New York State. Is it going on my record in Ontario? Yeah, there's a reciprocal agreement with New York State, along with Michigan. There's a whole bunch of places. Florida shares information. So if you're getting a ticket there and there's points involved, they're going to report back. It's going to be on your record. You definitely want to be watching your speed in the States, or watching your driving in general, not only because you want to be safe, but because they take their stuff even more seriously than we take it here. I happen to know somebody who is speeding in Virginia. It was Virginia. 20 miles over the speed limit is a felony. That means they got arrested, handcuffed, transported to a judge, and put for bail. They had to pay a cash bail to get out of jail that day. They don't mess around. And really, obviously, they're seeing issues in their state that warrant that kind of level of response. People are obviously like we have stunt driving where we suspend your license for 30 days and take your car for 14. They just throw you right in jail. I mean, they don't mess around. All right. Can you block parking sport with a truck and trailer? What do you mean? Do you mean blocking a parking spot with a truck and what do you mean? Like taking up 2 spots because you have a truck and trailer when you're in a mall parking lot? Generally speaking, well, if there's no law saying you can't. I mean, they could tell you that if they had signs posted saying you can't do that, or if they don't want trucks in their property, or I suppose they could tell you to move. But generally speaking, there's nothing. And if you're talking about the street and truck and tell me more. Be a little more descriptive in your ask so I can be more descriptive in my answer. I like being accurate, but I'm making guesses here, and guesses aren't good. All right. A whole bunch of stuff here. Where is the city with the reduction of speed limits in residential neighborhoods? It is taking too long. What? I don't know. What is with the reduction? Where is the city at with the reduction of speed limits in residential? It is being reduced. In Toronto, anyway. I had to read that twice to get it. Yeah, the deal is that we are constantly reducing. We have speed limit areas, zones that are 30 kilometers an hour for the entire area. So it's definitely being reduced. And that is a good thing. People get upset about it because they want to go everywhere faster. They think that they need to teleport to the next destination. Leave early. Plan time. Plan your day. You won't have issues. But when you expect to be there in light speed, or you leave yourself with little time, and then you start listen, the reason we slow down, the reason we're reducing speed limits everywhere is because slower you go, the less chance you are to be involved in a serious collision or to take a life. Because if you hit a pedestrian at 60 versus 30, the chances of them surviving at 60 are much less than if you were doing 30, which is the whole reason we're reducing speed limits. Saving the people. Okay. Password is username. Are ride checkpoints still a thing? I have not seen one in Toronto for a long time. They are. Ride checkpoints are a thing. We also do mobile ride, where we just pull people over, and because we have something called mandatory alcohol screening, we can just stop anyone and ask for a roadside breath sample to be taken. We no longer require the suspicion of alcohol. You know what? I stop every car, and every car that I stop, I should say, whenever I stop a car for an offense or a reason, it is the officer or the plan of the day to stop and check for alcohol every single driver. They provide a breath sample, they're on their way. If they fail, they don't go on their way. So ride program's still very, very big on weekends, major events, and randomly throughout the year. But then we get into the ride season, and then we say that ride season is every day. But we do have times where we have more rides more frequently and announce them. But it depends. It depends where you are. You may be just in the right place at the wrong time, the wrong place at the right time. I don't know what the answer is. So Q says, yesterday when I was in the car, they were talking about stunt driving and private property. Apparently not a lot of people know about that. Really? We've been talking about it for a long time, like since September 12th, 2021, when it became law. Private property, you can't stunt drive, because now the laws in Ontario extend, for Highway Traffic Act, extend onto private property. So if you are stunt driving, burning out, drifting, doing any kind of nonsense on private property, not only will you get charged for it and lose your license and your vehicle on public property, but on private property. So it's a thing. Johnny O says, traffic tickets over 1.5 year waiting trail. Will they get thrown out? I don't think that they're going to get thrown out. 1 year was the old standard. 2 years, I think, now is the standard. They've extended it, obviously, because of the world event of COVID and whatever comes next, because things are just not moving at the speed they were. And the courts have accommodated and accepted the fact that they can't operate at the same speed and you can't have the same expectations as you used to. Looking for my water bottle. Stand by. Music while I go. Whew. Okay. I'm like, I knew I had a water bottle. I just moved, and it moved with me, and then I didn't move it back. Thank you for your patience. All right. What do we got here? Is it illegal to warn oncoming traffic for speed traps? No, it's not illegal. It is not a nice thing to do. It's not a good thing to do. Good and nice are different. You know, nice is you're being nice to them, the driver, but you're not being nice to the community. You know, the one that wants it to be safe and free from serious injury and death. by way of collision. See, you're letting someone know there's a traffic enforcement going on. So the drivers that you warn slow down temporarily, and then they speed up once they pass the officer that they see. A temporary change in behavior is not what we're going for, because they will then potentially kill someone 2 blocks later, and that would be kind of sort of your fault. But if they change their behavior because they got a ticket and they get caught in the act and they never speed again, or at least maybe they don't speed for months or years, whatever the case may be, by letting them get caught, you're helping them and helping the roads be safer. So don't warn people about speed enforcement. Let them get caught. They make their own beds. If you choose to break the law, the tickets that come with, that follow, they're of your own making. It's not about us making things and giving reasons for you to be stopped. You've given us the reason to document you for doing what you're doing, the choices you make. Yeah. Okay, Leo wife, good morning. My wife is watching. Good morning. It is hopefully a stress-free day at home with the kids. I love you, kids. and Leo wife, I love you too. All right. We have 20 miles over the limit is like 40 kilometers over. It's actually 1.6 is the exchange rate on miles to kilometers. But yeah, it's faster than 20K, and it's unacceptable. Patrick Ing, good morning, sir. Patrick is a friend of mine from the photo biz. I was never in the photo biz other than as a consumer or a prosumer as a photographer. But we go way back, like 3 different camera stores way back. Okay. Easy Slap says, what do you think about modified cars? I think ones that are modified legally and safely are awesome. I think the ones that are annoyingly loud are illegal, and the ones that are unsafely modified are unsafe and illegal. I can appreciate them aesthetically. I can appreciate even the ones that are illegal as long as they're not driven on the road. A lot of cool looking cars. I saw some at Honda Indy. Hey, I didn't call it Molson Indy. We'll see how long this lasts. So I saw a bunch of really cool modified cars that were show cars. Now, they had Ontario plates, but I was assured that they never see the road. Hopefully that's true, because some of them were slammed. I mean, there were so many things wrong with them in terms of putting them on the road, but they looked really cool, and I can appreciate them. So I know that a lot of folks who watch this channel and listen and assume that police officers hate modified cars. We don't, and we are as Toronto Police Traffic Services, we actually really, a lot of us here, like cars. It's kind of why we got into traffic, like cars, motorcycles, it's a thing. So we appreciate what you do. We just want to make sure you do it safely and legally. That's all. And for the folks who say, well, you can't do what I want to do legally, well, then don't do it. And don't expect the sympathy when we take your license plates and you can't drive your car anymore. Because the things that are designed, the laws, just in general, laws are designed based on safety and common sense. And when you do things that go against safety and common sense, either you get caught for those rules, and if no rule exists, well, whichever person does the stupidest thing first, they make a rule, and usually they name it after you. But yeah, like that's where rules come from, based on experience and really bad events. So when someone breaks a rule or has a rule created in their honor or the honor of their stupidity, that's new level. So you talk about stunt driving laws, they were increased because of someone's stupidity. Pretty simple. Okay. Jay Keir says they what is it? Oh, okay. So here's a question coming in from Instagram. They ticket bike speeders. Do you think speedometer on bikes should be on bikes like lights and bells? So it's a good question, and let me give you some background. We don't ticket speeding bicycles on the road. Why? Because the Highway Traffic Act does not actually cover or include speeding bicycles. So you have to be in a motor vehicle on the road. In parks, however, there is a global speed limit for all vehicles. Bicycles included in that, and that includes rollerbladers even, 20 kilometers an hour, period, by law. Now, 20 kilometers an hour is pretty slow. So if you're doing it more than that, you shouldn't be. Now, should you have a speedometer? Is that a defense? No, you can have a speedometer and it would help you maintain the legal limits. Should they be mandated? They're not expensive. I had one when I was a kid. I had one that used to sort of click over. It was on a spring, and that you'd have a wheel that spun across the tire, because I wanted to know. So I've had a speedometer since the beginning of time. Like it was cool. I also had baseball cards stuck in between my spokes, so it sounded like a motorcycle. Yeah, I was that kid. So There's no excuse for the cost, for the money involved, and for the people who have GPSs on their watch and can tell. They want to know how fast they're going for exercise. Everybody knows how fast they're going, and if they don't, it's because they're choosing not to. So there's no. I don't think we have to mandate it because it doesn't change anything. You still need to slow down. Tips to prevent your car from being stolen. Johnny O wants to know. I didn't clear the other question you got going on here. So tips to prevent your car from being stolen. We talked about this on Dave's Corner Garage, actually, the very first time that I was on the air with them. And very simply, making your vehicle less interesting or accessible is a thing. Why can't I clear this question? It does not want to do. Johnny O's question might just sit there for the rest of the show on Instagram. So the deal is that if you make yourself a little more difficult to steal, then the would-be thief will probably go to the next one. But if they're really determined to take your car, there's nothing you can do to stop them. And I say that with love. So you can use an RFID wallet or RFID key pouch, which I have, or a box that you put your keys in that would prevent what do they call it? The relay theft, where someone comes with an antenna near your door, tries to scan all the signals of all the keys, and then rebroadcasts it through a computer or copies it so they can then control your vehicle. Also, VIN numbers are one of the reasons that people want to cover their VIN numbers now, because unscrupulous people will take a VIN number and try and get keys cut. And sensors programmed based on that information. However, they get a hold of that information or find people who are in the industry who will do bad things for money. So that's one thing. Covering your VIN number is another. There are, putting on that whole physical club thing looks ridiculous. It's from the 90s, but guess what? If it's a club, if it adds minutes to breaking in, or even seconds, it might make them just decide to go to the next car. And you want to make your vehicle the least desirable it can be. Parking, great lights, video cameras, alarm systems, anything to dissuade. Now there's other things. You can block your OBD port, putting a cage lock. Again, a lot of the ways they use to program new keys is to use that port after they've gotten into your vehicle. Okay, that's one way. You could put a ignition cutoff switch, hide a switch somewhere that only you know where it is, and remember to use it. Otherwise, it's a useless switch. You can also do something which I think is ingenious. There's a guy on YouTube, and he says just pop the hood and pull the fuse or relay to your fuel pump or your ignition. He says, ain't nobody going to be carrying a spare for every vehicle out there. So if you do that, that's a very physical block for theft. But hey, listen, that is still not foolproof, because if they really want it, they're going to come with a tow truck. And parking it in your garage just means that they have to open the garage. Depending on how motivated a bad guy is, they're just going to get it. And that's why you have insurance. Okay. We saw OPP on CP24 at Vaughan Mills doing slalom racing in the parking lot. How can this be legal? Conky, I don't know. I don't know if slalom racing, if it was an event that they had created for awareness, or if you're talking about they were doing stupid things because they were doing stupid. I don't know. I haven't seen the video. But the deal is that if you were doing stunt driving, if you're drifting, if you're breaking traction intentionally, burnouts, that's all stunt driving, and you can be charged, and police officers would be just as eligible for that if they were goofing around. We had a situation quite a while ago where someone was doing drifting in the winter. That was investigated fully. Now the outcome of it, I have no idea. They could have been charged they could have been disciplined internally. They could have been all sorts of things under the Police Services Act internally, with lots of things that could have happened. I don't know what the outcome was, but those laws we're not exempt from them. So there you go. What do we got? Oh, okay. So just a follow up about the modified cars. Easy says, that's awesome, man. I always hear cops hate the car community and that half the and all that stuff, but it's good to get a clear view of it. Thank you so much, and much love from Barry. Right on. Well, you're very welcome. This is why we're here. We're here to talk about things. We're not this car-hating group of officers just looking to write tickets for no reason. Everything we do is because we're trying to make the community safer, whether it be because officers are out there trying to make sure that cars are safe if they're on the road, and behavior is safe, because and all the way down to regular criminal investigations. We're just trying to do the right thing here. We're people helping people. And if you think about it that way, we're all the same. because most of you would help your fellow neighbor or community member to get whatever they need done. We're just doing it and doing it with the hard conversations. And actually, instead of telling someone that doing something silly, we actually give them a ticket for it to remind them. We're all doing the same thing. We're all, yeah. Some people compare us to parents, that we're parenting people. I don't know if I like that as much, because that doesn't always have a good connotation to it. But it's kind of sort of managing people who can't manage themselves sometimes. And sometimes we're making people do things, because we have a conversation about catalytic converters that nobody likes the answer to. And I had a friend of mine, Brian Max, who's a race car driver. And people say, well, race car drivers aren't mechanics. We shouldn't talk to race car. He's a race car driver. He's a journalist. He's an all about town guy about cars and vehicles, and he test drives them and writes about them. And he knows a thing or two about them. He has a lot of experience. He's old like me. Actually, he's a little older, so I can make fun of him. But he talks about the fact that catalytic converter removal now doesn't make sense. It creates a lot of issues in having to do work. And although people say, you can tune your car and the work won't be there, the truth is you're messing with your car. He also goes on to say that production race cars have catalytic converters, to which people say, there's no such thing as a race car with a catalytic converter. Spec sheet says it's got a catalytic converter. It's got a catalytic converter. Okay, I'm going to get off this soapbox and move on. But yeah. We like cars. That was what we were saying. Big Jeff Fresh says, I had a stop sign ticket a couple of years ago that I felt wasn't right, but would have been hard to fight based on area. So I paid it. Now I just wait an extra when I stop at stop signs. Yeah, stop signs are one of those things that I say this in court too when I testify to a ticket, although it's been a while since I've had to, because I'm off the road and haven't written one in ages. But I describe exactly what I see. So the officer, the defense counsel says, well, my client, let me suggest to you, officer, that my client did stop. And my response is, well, I can tell you that they didn't, and my threshold is very high. What does that mean? It means when people just come to a little bit of a stop, they make an effort, I don't even stop those people. I stop the people that blow through the stop sign without even hesitating, no brake lights, 15K right through. I stop people who really don't stop. If you made a good effort, I'm not the best, but we'll give it a pass. So I have a very high bar for stop signs, even though I used to write a ton of them, because there's so many people that just blow right through them. So when I say that we're pretty good about most things, and Big Jeff Fresh had a bad experience where he thought it was on the line, I paint a pretty good picture. If it was really just not so great, I wouldn't have stopped you. And that's just me. Ryan Pinn, good morning. Ryan is a driving instructor from Nova Scotia, and I sent him a very funny video last night, and he says, this is great. This is what the police do at night. They send pictures about guys running to the bathroom. It was, I don't know if you saw it. If you saw it on TikTok, it was a guy running to the washroom while some guy in the backhoe was singing a tune, making fun of him. I got a laugh, so I sent it to Ryan Pinn because I thought he could appreciate being a dad about bathroom jokes. Yeah, poop jokes are always fun. Okay. Okay, what do we have here? Here, if I'm going to assume it's Cape Breton Regional Police, if I'm right, I'm totally just guessing with your acronym here. Vehicle goes over 130 kilometers an hour, and email goes out to all supervisors, and if it's not justified, they're eligible for the same fine as the general public. Yeah, we have a number too. When it hits, it's not an email; it is live notification. Actually, it may also. It may also be an email, but in any case, it is investigated. We have to justify everything we're doing. We're all GPS tracked. We're all video cameras, and when we're doing things we're not supposed to, we get into trouble. And if we are justified, we don't, because that's how that works. We're allowed to do certain things. Speeding is one of the things we're allowed to do. But obviously, speeding that is so ridiculous has to be justified. And my old unit, the motor squad, regularly had to go over the speed limit because we were an enforcement team. We were going after high flyers. Okay, what do we have here? What happens if I drive from USA with my car and don't pay a Canadian ticket and go back to USA without paying it? Aha, this is a good question. So what will happen is if you don't pay for it, you'll be found guilty in your absence. It'll be a conviction registered, and then you'll be an unpaid fine, at which point you will be suspended in Ontario. And when you return next time, you will be charged for driving while suspended because you are suspended from driving here. Now, equally, if you were suspended at home and driving here, you're suspended back home. You're suspended everywhere, according to Ontario. So if you can't drive here if you're suspended there, and you can't drive here if you're suspended here. total soup sandwich, right? Pay your fines. If you're in the States and you don't pay a fine as a Canadian visiting there, you can be arrested. They take their stuff serious. All right. Can you train someone to drive who has their G1 in your car if you have a G? Do they need to be on the insurance policy? That's a great question. And Lulu, here's the answer. If you are a G-class driver and you have 4 years of experience, the experience starts when you got your G2 and continues till you have your G, your full G. You have to have a total of 4 years, and that will be represented by 4 vertically aligned dots in the bottom right-hand corner, just to the left of your mini-me photo on your driver's license. If you have that, you can supervise them lawfully. Do they have to be in your insurance policy? No. You don't have to put them on your insurance policy. You can call and tell the insurance company that you want to add them, and they will tell you in most cases, if not all cases, that you don't have to. But that's between you and your insurance company. From a legal perspective, from a police officer's perspective, they aren't required. Your company might have some weird rules. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Big Jeff Fresh says, Chew Construct. I don't know what the TUE is. Chew Construct. I don't know what it is. Okay. Let's get back into some things. Oh, some good stuff here. Okay. Scrolling. I got a whole bunch of questions here. By the way, if you're new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on weekdays, Monday to Friday, from 10 to 11, answering your traffic and police questions. I do it because I love you. No, I do it because I love you, and it's my job. It wasn't always what we did. It's a thing that's only been going on for a little while. We have really grown. We're at last I checked, it was 588,800 followers, which is more than I ever dreamed would be following us. So thank you to you if you follow us. If you don't follow us, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you following us? Apparently we're the place to be, but we are always growing. We're always striving to do better. And I say we, but I mean, this is very personal for me. I like doing this stuff, and I want to make sure I'm bringing you content that is quality and educational and enjoyable. So if you like it, if you enjoy it, please share it, and please follow it and all that jazz. Okay. What is this? Oh, okay, here we go. Hey, Sean, how do cops want legal gun owners to declare they are transporting a firearm in their car? I would do it just pretty much the way you said it. If I pulled you over and it was for a speeding ticket or for whatever reason, and you wanted to be upfront and things, you could say, I have a pal. Just to let you know, officer, I have a pal. I'm on my way to the gun range. I do have firearms on board. They're properly stored, and so on and so forth. And that's not a big deal. The truth is, in Ontario, we're not really... I speaking for myself, maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I'm not really concerned about legal gun owners transporting firearms. I'm a legal gun owner. I transport firearms to the gun club. It's just, if you're doing it properly, it's not a big deal. The people who are of concern are the firearms criminals, those folks who are carrying them and transporting them for illegal purposes. That's a bigger issue. I'd like for them to tell us if they have guns so we can arrest them for it, but that's a different story. Okay, unmarked speed traps, are they legal without proper signs? If you're talking about unmarked speed traps that are photo radar, like electronic enforcement, they require signs. For us that are unmarked, being in a police car that has no markings, there's no signs for us, and they're legal because we are wherever we are and we're police officers and have the authority to stop you. So I think you're talking about the automated speed enforcement. Can I drive away if a cop turns around and speeds off in the middle of a traffic stop? Yeah, if they left you, hopefully they left you with your ID, because that would be awkward to try and get it back to you later. But it happens. If there's an emergency call, an officer needs assistance, a child that needs assistance, a person who needs assistance that just takes priority, we may very well just take off. And I think that's a clear indication that we're not expecting you to hang out. Just saying. If they tell you don't move, it's a different story, but I don't think that's going to happen. But very cool. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that, so kudos to you for that question. We got something coming up here. What's going on? Lulu wants to know, at what age can you put your kids in a booster seat instead of a full car seat? It's going to be manufacturer specific, but there is an age range. And if you're talking about Ontario, I'm going to look it up for you because I cannot remember. So it's going to be MTO car seat age guide This is me Googling on your behalf. Do I need to? Do they give me the whole chart? I know, but what I'm looking for is they generally have a good chart. So you know that they can be out. Well, if you don't know, they can be out of a car seat or booster at the age of 8, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. Now that is going to be the actual requirements under law, not necessarily the safest, but it is the thing. Okay, so booster seat. So they have to be under 8. Be between 18 and 36 kilos, which is between 40 and 80 pounds, and they have to be under 4'9" to be in a booster seat. So they say here that for a toddler, so the stage before, is 9 to 18 kilos, 20 to 40 pounds, and there's no height requirement. So once you hit 4'9", they're saying that you don't need, well, we know that you need to be under the age of 8, under 80 pounds. That's not really helpful the way the chart is. But you are now. I say that it's lawful to be out of the car seat at 880 or 4'9". It may not be the safest. There's a number of other checks you can do. I think it's a 5-point check. One of those things is like, can your child sit in the back or in the seat with their back flush against the back and have their knees bend at the edge of the seat? Because if their feet are straight out, that's an issue. That's not good. There's a lot of websites. SIPSAC is going to be one of your best resources for that. I say SIPSAC and then I'm like, what is SIPSAC? CPSAC, I think it is. Let me see. Child Passenger Safety Association of Canada. Yeah, cpsac.org. Great resource for you about car seats. And we have a few really good episodes all about transporting kids in car seats in our archive on YouTube. Amanda McDonald, an auxiliary officer who happens to be a certified instructor for this. She's been a guest on the show a number of times. So it's a while ago, but the information is still valid. So thank you, Lulu, for asking that question. What do we got here? Okay, we covered that. We can delete it. Moving on. Driver's license has to be accessible, okay to be in the trunk in a camera bag, or is that too far? Here's the deal. You need to be able to surrender it upon demand. I would suggest that if it's in the trunk, because that's where your purse is, great, or your bag, or whatever the case may be. Camera bag, I think you gave an example. If you say, officer, my stuff is in the trunk, that's reasonable. At that point, if you have to get out to do it, I wouldn't get out of the car in advance. Just let them know that your stuff is stored in the trunk and let them give you direction. But I like having it in my wallet, in my pocket. That's just me. If I don't have it on me, panic sets in. I got to have it. But everyone's different. Do you have a ticket quota? No. I certainly don't, and nobody in Toronto does, and I can't speak for other agencies, but I've never heard of a quota being in place. Now, that's not to say we're not expected to do an honest day's work. We are expected to do an honest day's work because we get paid to do work. So if we're doing nothing, that's a problem, and I would hope you think that's a problem too. For those that are actually working in traffic capacity, if we don't write tickets and we're not investigating collisions, what are we doing? Coffee all day, not okay. And frankly, people would be upset if we did that. So yeah, the deal is that we don't have a quota, but we have to be showing that we're doing work, whatever that looks like. If I write 8 tickets in a day because they're all heavy duty, cell phone, lots of evidence, and that takes me the day, an hour each, that's okay. If I write 25 tickets that are speeding and they take less time, but half of them, like every time you open the door to a traffic stop, it's a possibility of an entire day being taken because you could be finding someone on warrants and arresting them and alcohol and drugs and guns. Like you never know what's going to happen. So as long as you're working, doesn't matter what your numbers are. Okay. Can you use a G2 in the U.S.? Yes, you can. A G2 is a probationary license. You have to follow any of the conditions set forth. So you can't, if it's the first year, you're going to be, covered or restricted by how many people you can have in the vehicle that are 19 or under in the first 6 months. In the second 6 months, different numbers. You have to have 0 BAC. All of those things will have to be maintained in the United States. However, you can operate anywhere in Canada and the United States with that G2 license. What should you do if your bike is overheating on the highway in traffic? Pull over. Your vehicle is going to fail. Do not lane split. Do not ride the shoulder. You are not justified doing that. But pull over, and if you need to get a tow, get a tow. If you need to have it chill out because your vehicle is disabled at that point or going to become disabled if you don't do something about it, yeah, do that. Does insurance pay for an ambulance or do you in the collision that is your fault? So if you're in Ontario, you pay a fee. which I believe is absorbed by your insurance company, regardless of fault, assuming you have insurance that covers you, for your transportation. So all you see in Ontario is $50. That's the cost. And I believe it's absorbed by your insurance, but I'm not certain. That's a good question for your insurance company, though. They have answers for that and more. Can you pull a tandem travel trailer with a trailer behind it, or does it have to be a fifth wheel? There are specific requirements for vehicle weight in order to qualify for tandem towing. If you look at the website for Ontario, it simply says that tandem towing is prohibited. The truth is that in commercial vehicles, it is not prohibited under certain circumstances, but for most people, you cannot do it. So don't do it. I would suggest against it on the best of days, because I think towing a trailer by itself is a pain. Adding a second trailer to the trailer just looks like the worst possible nightmare I can have. Question of, are motorcycles allowed to lane split on highways or city streets? The answer is no, not in Ontario. It would be something to the effect of careless driving or even stunt driving, depending on the observations of the officer who's observing it. Yeah. Question of, Sean, are you going to be at the CNE this year? I don't know. I have not been to the CNE in many years. I'm not going to be working it if I go. If I go, it'll be to take my family. I don't think we're going to have a booth there. We are talking about getting booths at other things. I really want to get a booth at Fan Expo. I think that would be the coolest place to have a booth. Just saying. And then, hey, maybe I could get be VIP or something and, sign on. No, I don't want to sign autograph. If it just let me be on the panels, just so I could talk to the stars. Maybe I can interview them for the podcast. Yeah, that'd be cool. We could do podcast episodes there. Okay, I gotta look into this. What do we have here? Motorcycle stopped at a red light. Left turn, won't turn green. Can I safely go? No. You have no authority to go through a red light, period. What you can do is make a right turn safely and legally, and make a U-turn or use a driveway or a street or whatever to make your turnaround, and then go the other way legally. But you can never go through a red light. The only people who can, police, fire, ambulance, with full emergency equipment activated, and after completing a full stop and continuing only when safe to do so. But the HTA is very specific. I've heard in the States they have this, after a certain period of time, there will be it's considered non-functioning and you can go through. Not here. If you got your plates pulled because of a defect but had custom plates, how do I get it back? That's between you and the ministry. They are returned to the ministry, and I imagine you'd be able to get them from the ministry, but I don't know. Can cops see your criminal record while running your plates even after it has been pardoned? After it's pardoned, your record would be, I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at that. I don't know if pardons show up as pardons, or if, like for us, we'd see the charges. Like we'd see our own files on the person. So I'm going to assume that we can see everything. And a pardon probably shows up as a sealed document, not as a non-existent, erased from history thing. So we probably see it as a pardon. If you get a video of a speeding car with a license plate, can they get a ticket in a school zone? Depends. So we need to cover a number of factors in order to be able to lay a charge. One of those is, part of that is time, date, location, and we also have to have identity of the driver. A camera ticket, an automated speed enforcement camera, issues a ticket to the registered owner, not the driver. That's how they get away with that. We need to know who we're issuing the ticket to. If someone has a common assault charge on their profile, could they still become a police officer? That's going to be a great question for our friends at TPS Recruiting. They're on TikTok. They're on all the platforms. They're available through our website as well, tps.ca/careers. We are hiring, by the way. If it's something minor in age and old, I should say, you might be eligible, but I couldn't say for certain. I know that there was a lot of discussion about that a number of years ago. I think you could possibly still have chances. But every situation is different. They're all weighed on their own merits even. Okay. What is the fine if you don't wear your glasses when you have it on your license? That is drive in contravention of a condition. If you have a condition to wear glasses, not sunglasses, but actual glasses, then you are required to wear them when you're driving. And if you're not, you can be charged for violating a condition, which I believe is $110. And I don't know what the points are, so let's look it up. We're going to look it up in this wonderful app I use. Condition. Driver's license. Drive. It's $110. No points. Yeah, there you go. I was right. It happens. What is this question? What is the fine for being caught with an exhaust cutoff valve? It's an improper exhaust. I don't think there's a specific cutoff valve charge, but I could be wrong. I know they're prohibited, so I'd have to look that up, and I'm not going to do that one right now. But I think it's $110. Oh, now I got to look it up. Exhaust. Improper muffler, no muffler. $110. Cutoff? This may not be something I can look at right now. I'm going to say it's improper, but I don't know. I'd have to read the detail. That's just looking at headings. So I know they're not permitted, but the specific charge I'm not 100% on. Probably $110. Is it illegal to drive barefoot? Because I feel like it's safer than flip-flops. Well, I agree with you. It's safer than flip-flops, and it's not illegal to do either. But some places it might be. I grew up thinking that it was illegal. My mom lied to me. I also growed up thinking it was illegal to drive with the interior lights on. That was also not true. So, but it is law elsewhere. So it's a thing. What are the chances I can become a police officer at age 48? When I was in my class becoming a police officer, although I was still in my 30s, there was somebody 52 in my class. So there's total chances of you becoming a police officer at 48. No, you are young, sir. I am in the same bracket as you. I say, sir, I don't know who wrote this message. So whomever you are, 48 is young. I keep saying that every day. If I brought a new car If I bought a new car, can I put my old plates on without registering them with my new car? If your plates are unattached, they have to have unattached status. So if they are attached to another vehicle, you can't take them off and use them on the new one. But if they are sitting in your shelf because you sold your car and this has been waiting for that opportunity to be bolted on, you have 6 days using your old plates to get your vehicle. The vehicle still has to be insured by your insurance company, has to be on their books and covered, but you can use those plates for 6 days. But my suggestion is, that's the rare occasion these days that you need to use your old plates. Just do the transaction at the dealership, at the MTO, at the Service Ontario, and leave with plates. Simple as that. Or take the plates that you were going to put on it and transfer them right then and there. The only time you'd have to even think about this is if it was like a holiday weekend, because you can even go, at least on Saturdays, and get plates at most MTOs. I shouldn't say most. At the one near my place you can, because I've done it. Okay. Can I drive in Toronto with an Australian driving license? Yes. We honor foreign licenses when you're traveling for visitors. If you are becoming a resident here, you have 60 days to apply for an Ontario driver's license. And what will happen if you apply for one and they give you a G1, you're now a G1 driver. You start the graduate licensing. If they give you a straight trade, you're now an Ontario driver. If you don't do anything within 60 days, your license will not be honored. You'll be an unlicensed driver. What is legally allowed for window tint on the front driver and passenger window in Ontario? You're allowed to block no more than 30% of light, which means 70% of light must get through. That is what's permitted legally for safety standards. If you have more than that, you could, in fact, have your license plates removed for unsafe vehicle and the charges that go with that as well. Now, I will say this. In addition to the fact that you cannot go beyond that for color coding, and you can't have reflective coating, because we have to be able to see in. There is a charge under the Highway Traffic Act called obscure interior vehicle with color or reflective coating. So if I can't see you, even if it's 30% and it's considered safe under some conditions, if it's nighttime and I can't see inside, you have broken that rule. So you could be safe from the vehicle standard and unsafe or breaking another rule. So you have to be very careful. Light tint, listen, you need to be able to see, and people need to be able to see you. We need to be able to see if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you're drinking alcohol, if you're using your phone. That's something we need to be able to see for. But it's beyond that. It's also pedestrians being able to make eye contact with a driver, being able to see in and have that acknowledgement as they're walking past you and see it. I went riding my bicycle with my kids, and I can't tell you how unnerving it is to roll past a vehicle with tinted windows, not knowing if they're going to turn, not know if they're, even for parked ones, you just don't know what's going on. You don't know if there's somebody in there, if they're about to start the car and roll into your path. there's a reason you need to have that nonverbal communication of looking at people. Yeah. Okay. Yellow speed limit signs on the on or off ramp, legal limits or suggested speed. Suggested speed based on those engineering type people. White signs are regulated. The regulated signs are regulated. Those are the white and black. The yellow ones are either yellow or orange construction signs or cautionary signs for just that. They're cautionary, not enforceable. That said, if you do the full speed limit on the ramp, you're probably not going to stay on the ramp. What is this? I've been seeing a lot of people lately using the sunscreens you would rather... What is this? I've been seeing... Oh, I see what you're saying. So Ryan Pinn says he's been seeing a lot of people with sunscreens that you would use for a child seat in the front. I don't know. I don't know. But that would be blocking driver's view, and you can be charged for blocking the windows. Just it wouldn't be tint, but it would be blocking that window, and it would be obstructing the driver's view, and I would charge them for that. Can I have tinted taillights? Thou shalt not tint taillights. Actually, there's no specific law, but by tinting the taillights, you make them improper because they're not functioning the way they're supposed to. They're blocking you from seeing the light. And anything that makes you less visible to a vehicle that's approaching you is a really bad idea. Really bad. Because when we look at evidence, like when we're investigating the collision that you got rear-ended, we're going to see tinted taillights. We may have plastic on the ground. We might see it. It might be flopping around. Insurance companies do the same thing because very often they own the vehicle right after. So they take it, they look at it, and yeah, no. Boom, boom, boom. Are there demerit points for non-visual defects to vehicles such as failed shocks or low tire tread? Improper tires? I don't think so. But I don't know so. It's equipment. Improper tire. Improper tires, no points. I'm going to assume that the others will be the same. But it's unsafe. So unsafe vehicle, the shocks is going to be unsafe vehicle. What is this? Permit operation unsafe vehicle, $490. Operate unsafe vehicle. No points, $490. And you lose your plates. So there you go. Can I call 911? Let me try that again. Can I call 911 to aid traffic management with roadside tractor trailer repair? Like you're saying, you need someone to cover and put flashing lights behind you because the position of the vehicle where it is putting others at risk. Calling 911 in that situation to prevent collision is an appropriate use, if you ask me. They may disagree. I don't know, but I think it's appropriate. You're the way you worded it, I don't know if it falls into the category, but the way I rephrased it, I think does. Yeah, if your lights are going to be blinking, listen. When police cars are in bad situations for traffic stops, or we ask for additional cars to come and create space by being a few hundred meters, if not further, behind, so that vehicles can slow down. And oddly enough, people don't always get the message, and some people are so buried in their cell phone that they just drive into other people. It happens too much. If one of your headlights are out but the high beams both work, which should someone do? Drive with on. Okay. You should drive with your one headlight on because, frankly, you're also breaking the law with your high beams. The high beams will blind other drivers. The single headlight will simply produce less light. So the lesser of the two evils is going to be driving with one headlight. But don't do that long term. Maybe put your fog lights on. That would be a lesser of two evils, or a lesser of three evils. The least evil. I don't know. At the end of the day, you don't want to blind people. That will cause a collision. You want to get your light bulb fixed. But fog lights, if you have them, are a good alternative. Can we get a ticket if the child age 6 is sitting on passenger seat, like without a child's restraint? Because I'm assuming they're not 80 pounds or 4'9" when they're 6. So yeah. You can get a number of tickets. Are they considered a toddler at that point? No, I don't think they're a toddler at that point. No, they're above toddler. They're in booster seat category, I think. Depending on, we were talking about this earlier. Check out CPSAC, cpsac.org. I still have it up. But in terms of, let's see here, child seat. Child. So drive while child not, let me look up toddler. Just because I think that's a more... Fail to ensure toddler properly secured, $240, 2 demerit points. This is a seatbelt section. So child is going to be the same thing. drive while child not properly secured. Same basically, $240, 2 demerit points, depending on different wording for different ages. So, yeah. Now, that also works if they're under 16 and they're not wearing their seatbelt, but they're old enough to be on a seat without a booster. You're still responsible as the driver. Can someone have underglow lights under the car and or in the wheel wells? I've seen them recently in the wheel wells. I think they look, no, I don't like them at all, really. I think, no. It's 1980 called, they want their stuff back. Yeah. If you're projecting light directly outward, it's a problem. You can't project light of any color, outwards other than white and yellow to the front and red or amber to the rear. Beyond that, you can't project light. If your lights are directly to the ground and the bulbs are not visible projecting sideways or front or back, just down, and you're getting bounce off the ground, that's different. I would say that you'd have an argument that is legitimate use, and as long as it's not blinking, distracting, and flashing in restricted colors like red, green, or blue, I think you're okay. Front and back, if I can see it from the sides, front or back, and it's not only because the ground is lit up, yeah, you've got a problem. Now you're going to be in proper headlights and proper taillights. If it's flashing, it could be intermittent red light, which is specific charges. So I think it's for parking lots, not for the road. Your mileage may vary. After how long the demerit points be removed? So if you get a ticket and you have a conviction, whether you pay it or you're convicted in court, you will have your demerit points reflect from the time that the conviction is registered, and they will stay until 2 years have passed from the date of offense. So if you go to court 2 years after and you get demerit points, they're actually never going to be on your record. But your conviction will stay for 3 years from the date of conviction. Yes. What are high beams for? Really? Hold on. Really? High beams are so you can see on country roads when there's no illumination, but you have to turn them down or off when you have traffic coming up or coming at you within 170 meters, I think, and when you're approaching within 150 or 170 meters, and I don't remember. And sorry, Q, yeah, it was a little loud on that. I had it up for the music. Let's see here. We talked about that. The movie Bridesmaids with Kristen Wiig demonstrates why proper taillights are important. And use the one low beam on the way to buy a new light. Excellent answer, Ryan Penn. And that's our time. That's 11:01. We are out. We will be back Tuesday because it's a long weekend. Yeah, fine.
Okay. Can you have pulsating brake lights on a motorcycle or on a car?
Pulsating?
Yeah, like the rally brake lights or the race lights.
So I would have answered differently recently. So recently I read something that has changed my opinion. I would have told you that you cannot because there's a charge for intermittent flashing light. But if you look at the definition of what intermittent is, flashing a pulse, a beep, like on, or on, off, on solid, which is usually what happens with those, I don't think it meets the requirements for a charge under the Highway Traffic Act because intermittent would suggest more sporadic. When you talk about police lights, they flash twice, then 3 times, then twice, then once, then like they have a sparkle almost. They're intermittent. They're random. Even if it's a continuous pattern, it appears random. That is intermittent. Flashing 5 flashes and then staying solid is not. I do not believe they're illegal, but I would have told you they were prior to doing a deeper dive recently. So for everyone I told that you can't have those, I think I have to change my opinion on that. Now, I do say opinion because interpretation of the law is a big thing. The law is written a certain way, and I interpret things one way, and we'll say that mine are the right way. Not everybody will agree, and someone could lay the charge, and it'll be ultimately up to a trier of fact, an independent trier of fact, aka a judge or justice of the peace. So I can lay a charge believing that it's right, and a judge or JP could throw it out. Now, they could throw it out because they don't believe it, that it's not accurate based on their interpretation of the law. Again, interpretation is a big thing. And then finally, they could just choose to, for a technicality, for no reason, throw it out. So you never know. A lot of people come up and say, well, I got off that ticket. I was right. You may not have been right. You may have been wrong, but they could have given you the benefit of the doubt. They could have decided that someone's I wasn't dotted and a T wasn't crossed. Like, there's so many reasons why things don't make it to conviction. It doesn't mean you were right. But going back to the original thing is, I don't think that that the race brakes that flash a few times and then go solid are an issue. There you have it. Q, does that work for you?
It worked for the person who asked.
I'm glad
Thank
that.
you.
Well, they're very welcome. This was a great episode. I had a lot of fun. We'll be back on Tuesday. It's a long weekend. For me, longer than for you maybe, because tomorrow I'm taking time off. This is the second week in a row that I'm not going to be here on a Friday. It's very weird. But there will be a podcast that will play. It's going to be a short 15-minute episode, and it is going to run for about 15, 20 minutes. So it's a shorter episode. It's a great episode. Carjackings. I couldn't remember it before, but we're talking about carjackings. Yes. And joining me on that podcast is Richard Harris. He's an inspector at the Hold Up Squad, and he talks about stuff and things related to carjackings. So I think it's a cool episode. It's a little different than how we normally do things because it's short. We usually talk a lot, but you know what? That means you can go on with the rest of your day right after it's done. And to sing us out, we have Yuke and Atuk doing the traffic song. I do love it. I love it a lot. Not going to lie. Here we go. Follow us at trafficcop.ca, where you can ask us questions all the time. And, of course, subscribe everywhere.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I have way too much fun every time I listen to that. It doesn't get old. I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's an officer here who both wrote, performed, sang, the whole business. We even had it played on the radio when I was on air with the folks at Dave's Corner Garage last weekend, and I love it. I can't help it. I want to put up some versions of it so you guys can sing it. I don't know if you're into that, but if you want to duet it, we're going to make that possible. Can't hear me, Shapiro? Tracy says they can't hear me. Can you not hear me? Why can't you hear me? I think you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
They can hear you. You were just lip syncing to it. That's what she was
Oh, that's what we were talking about. I'm like, I'm so confused. All right. With that, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I have to respond to Crystal before I go. Crystal, I've already ended with TikTok, and I'll leave our YouTube going, but I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to answer this question. What is the most memorable thing you have done as a police officer? I am switching the subject for a minute. Crystal, the most memorable thing, I've had some amazing opportunities and experiences, but I specifically have been never so honored as I was to participate in the Invictus Games in 2017, escorting heroes, injured soldiers, whether it be physical or mental injuries as a result of their service. I escorted them around Toronto as part of the motor squad, and to date, that is the most amazing experience of my career. I mean, there were other things that were also amazing, but that just nothing competes with that. It was very impactful. So I had to answer that. And thank you for asking it. And I think what do we got here? One last thing. How do you become a police officer in Toronto? And yeah, You go to www.tps.ca/careers. That's how you do it. It's the right way to do it. All the information you want to know about joining can be found there. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. And we're really out now.